Conversate for a few.
Welcome to the next episode of Conversate for a Few. I'm Jonna.
I'm Alan. This is not a podcast about classical music.
Absolutely is not. This is a podcast about hip hop. What we doing today, bruh?
We talking misogyny in hip hop.
And that's a long time coming too. Pause,
Yes.
I guess. But
Yeah.
I mean,
we've touched on it in prior episodes, just very in a very abbreviated way. Yeah.
But I mean, it's time, bro. It's time to have this conversation. We had a conversation about social justice a couple years back. I feel like we had a conversation about homosexuality in hip hop.
Right.
It's past time that we have a conversation about misogyny.
I'm gonna just say this. I think it's long overdue. To be honest, we probably should have done this within the first 50 episodes.
Facts. Big facts. And
over 100 in and hadn't talked about this.
And now that you mention it, this probably should have been in the episode we had a female guest on.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So with that being said, we'll further this conversation later because I know we won't get it all in. You see what I'm saying? Within 50 minutes to an hour, that's not possible.
Yeah.
So this is something this is going to be a continued conversation because I think it's that important, and I know you do.
Yeah.
It's funny that I saying that we think it's that important, but you wouldn't know it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, simply put, you wouldn't know it based on, not necessarily the musical choices, because I don't think I listen to the most misogynistic hip hop.
Right.
But I think there was probably an era where I was listening to the more misogynistic. Nah, that's the thing. That's kind of my point. I was never like 2 Live Crew. I was honestly never Too Short. I was never even when Snoop was running everything, I was anti West Coast at the time. You know what I mean? But there was plenty of East Coast hip hop artists that defamed women and just didn't, and that were disrespectful, and
Right. And that's, I think, one of the points that we have to make right at the onset of the podcast is that a little bit is too much.
Facts.
Right? Because it was artists that we liked. And this is a general thing. And we're going to get into some of what led to all of this, like meaning the artist perspectives on women, particularly from Black artists, right? But I was never, two Live Crew type of dude. At the time when Snoop was running stuff, right? I was heavy East Coast, right? So, but even though that we didn't necessarily subscribe to the ones that had extremely over the top misogynistic lyrics and behavior, even though we didn't, we still like artists that still had an undertone of it when women came up.
Right.
Like it was very few. It was very few artists that, in their lyrics and delivery, they had a very positive outlook and things to say about women. You know what I mean?
In general, it was only the conscious artists.
Right. It was only conscious artists, and even they.
Right.
Even with them, we can find. We can find little pockets of what can be definitely interpreted as misogyny. Like when you think of Common.
That was my example.
Oh, I know you was gonna probably say "Ho Happy Jack." No. I was gonna say "Ho Happy Jackie."
Yeah,
that's AZ.
Okay,
that's an AZ song. So no, but Common went on. I think "Can I Have a Dollar?"
Can I borrow a dollar?
There's a party in your mouth and everybody's coming.
Man, there's a song on there called "Just Dog the Bitch."
Yeah.
On Common's first album, that was my example. On his first album,
I knew it would be.
You know what I mean? And I'm like,
that's what I mentioned.
And I'm thinking back to my teenage years. I was acting that out while that song was playing. I'm gonna put it that way. You know what I mean? Like just doing stuff that just didn't make sense. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like and it definitely wasn't respectful of who I was with, and she wasn't demanding respect. So I think we was in some way playing out the music that we were hearing. You know what I mean? Not on
Not
purpose.
unknowingly.
Unknowingly.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like when we both mentioned that we wasn't subscribing to Two Live Crew. We wasn't subscribing to Snoop at the time lyrically. But I can say visually at the time that music was out, it didn't make no difference what the music sounded like. I was watching that video.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? I was watching the "Oh Me So Horny" video. I was watching, you know what I'm saying, all that trash. You know what I mean? I'm watching that. I'm watching Snoop and them pour, you know what I'm saying, spray the girls with 40 bottles and, you know what I'm saying, with 40 ounces and that stuff. You know, so to say that I wasn't partaking in it because I was an East Coast, you know what I'm saying, East Coast head, would be false. I wasn't partaking in the music necessarily, but the vibe and the misogyny, the misogynistic aspects of it, I was definitely taking part in it, you know.
Right, absolutely.
So we always go, when we had these conversations, we kind of go to the beginning, right? So we can start with like your first real memory of female hip hop, like women in hip hop.
Oh, as artists?
Any. Just give me your first.
Okay, so the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of my earliest introduction to women in hip hop, and I'm just coming from the artist standpoint, it will honestly be MC Light, Paper Thin, MC Light, Georgie Porgy.
That's dope. I would probably say mine was, I'm gonna throw, it's like a spectrum. Well, actually, it's not. It's really Salt and Pepper.
Okay, yeah.
And the Roxannes.
Okay, got
Let's
you.
start with Shantae.
Right?
Yeah. Of course, you got to start with Shantae because there is no Roxannes without Shantae, and she was the one that could spit. You feel me? So it was Salt and Pepper, and there was other female that had songs, you know what I'm saying, but they didn't make the impact. I guess because I was in the South. I think there was some. Obviously, there was some up north that was popping before these women were, but the ones that I remember having an impact, and I was like, I mean, actually, Salt and Pepper. I can't even remember the full name of the album, but it was something and Vicious, cool something and Vicious. I bought that joint at the flea market. You know what I mean? I had to have it. You know, it was fire.
Yeah.
Roxanne was crazy. Roxanne, the real Roxanne, was actually at the first concert I went to. She was the only person that was at that concert that I quote unquote met.
Oh, okay.
You know, and even then I was just in awe how beautiful she was. Her music wasn't, you know, it was alright, but she wasn't Roxanne Shantae. So it was like she was the pretty one and Roxanne was the spitter.
Right.
So even then there was a delineation.
You
know what I mean? Like even that early there was a delineation on what they were selling. Roxanne Shantae was a spitter and Roxanne, the real Roxanne, was pretty. And it was obvious somebody was writing her rhymes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it wasn't, but it was.
Yeah, I definitely follow.
So yeah, I mean, I do know women were representing themselves a lot differently in the beginning of hip hop than they are today. And then, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
I mean, and that's why maybe, because I remember Salt and Pepper, Push It, and other stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I think MC Light might be the epitome of how they were represented earlier on. And what I mean by that is they wanted, well, it seemed like they wanted to be respected for being an artist because they're running against all these other men in a genre that's dominated by men. Right. They wanted to be respect, like MC Light by far got respect.
I think
for lyricism.
Right. And I think that is the reason that's your perspective. You see what I'm saying? Because I think we gravitated to what she was doing because it was more core hip hop.
Yeah.
Than what Salt and Pepper was doing. Salt and Pepper was more pop hop.
Yeah.
It was hip hop, but it was geared towards being the most popular hip hop possible.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? And especially over time, that's what it went to. Now, what I will say is that salt and pepper to me kind of, if you think about it, let me ask the question because I don't know whether that's my perspective or not. I just want to kind of give it some thought before I say this is true. But
All right.
but with dudes, you can think of hip hop artists that are represented as like well-rounded humans, like a well-rounded man, right?
Yeah.
I think do you think Salt and Pepper gave you more of a perspective of what of more of what a woman is versus what MC Lyte did? Because MC Lyte was almost more boyish.
Yeah. Well, I felt like MC Lyte was well rounded.
I do too.
I do. So
I just don't
yeah.
think you got the sexualized side from her. I think you got
No,
the
but like no, but
serious
you
side.
right, but no, I was just gonna say, but it's funny. That's why I mentioned like two songs that immediately stuck out to me for when I was young, right? The Georgie Porgy, because that is her. She's talking relationship, talking about male female interaction and stuff. So
right.
I kind of felt like
I think we feel the same. I think we feel the same way. She's more indicative of the woman that you actually meet.
Right. True.
You see what I'm saying? So the actual human woman, she was more indicative of that. Like Salt and Pepper did have the sexualized side. They had the more serious talk to the actual subject matters, but a relationship song from MC Lyte was a relationship song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to kind of draw that line.
Yeah.
And there's a lineage, you know what I mean? And I think Salt and Pepper in the early days, there were people that were, you had Finesse and Sinquest, you had other girl groups that were trying to follow the path of what Salt and Pepper was doing.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So you had paths going both ways. Because I think Queen Latifah is more of in the lineage of MC Lyte.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I would say, which is crazy, I would think Foxy and Kim are more in the lineage of Salt and Pepper.
Yes, I agree.
You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you got a Bahamadia and you got
I was about to say Bahamadia.
I knew that name was coming today.
Yeah.
So it's even though Foxy to me was a spitter.
Yeah.
Kim to me was a spitter, even though, they had help, but it didn't make no difference. Their verses was fire.
Right. And so did Salt and Pepper.
So did Salt and Pepper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But shit, so did Curtis Blow.
Right.
So did Eazy-E. So did, you know what I mean? So what? So
did
Snoop.
The biggest artist ever.
So did Snoop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like let's so did Drake. Let's not, you know what I mean? So if we ain't even gonna get into that. That ain't what we talking about. Because that's a whole nother misogynistic conversation. You see what I'm saying?
But it's going to be important. Because it's funny that we're talking about misogyny in hip hop, and then we talked about some of these overly sexualized songs. Mm-hmm. They were written by men. That's portraying women as subjects.
That's important.
You know what I mean?
That's important.
Yeah. So but that's good. Yeah, that becomes extremely important. And later on in the conversation, that a lot of these songs, down to of course Foxy Brown, album was a split between writing for the most part, split between Jay-Z and Nas.
Yeah.
The Illana album.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And Push It Real Good was written by, I forgot his name. You know his name, but
Herbie.
Yeah.
Herbie Love Bug, maybe. Okay.
Right. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, I totally understand. I mean, I get it. I get it. So is that part of the misogyny that they have to play the part that some man writes for them to even get into the game?
I think that could be part of it, and the actual content of what is written for them.
Right. So
how they end up being portrayed.
Right. So maybe that's the root cause, is that they have to go through the system is set up so that they have to go through a man or men or a crew of men. You know what I mean? To get on. So in that way, they are a reflection of that crew or of that man that put them in that position.
Yes. I would say so. I mean, I don't know an artist or I don't know a situation that is other than that, what you just said.
I could think of one. The only
Mm,
one that I could think of is Queen Latifah because she ran her crew. Flavor Unit was hers.
okay.
You see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
everybody in Flavor Unit was under Queen Latifah,
right. So
but her narrative was always hers.
yes. So yeah, so she would be the exception and not the rule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and narrative wise, I mean, I think MC Light's narrative was always hers. You know what I mean? She came in with her
Mhm.
brothers though.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like Milk
Mhm.
D's her brother, so it ain't like he was gonna ask her to do something to,
Right.
you know what I mean, to play
Yeah.
herself. You know, so it's
Yeah.
important to who you come in with. Big, it's obvious how Big saw Kim.
Yeah, it's clear.
What he saw her value as far as being able to sell her in the marketplace. I'm not even saying he just saw her as a sex object. I'm just saying, you know what I mean, like value in the industry wise is obvious how he saw her.
Yeah.
It's obvious, you know what I mean. So, but I wonder how much of that do did Kim invite? How much of that did Foxy invite?
Right.
But even if they did, I say that's the same way you would say a young artist invited getting beat by signing a bad contract. You almost
Mhm.
coerced into inviting it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can't even put that on them. Even if they was like, "Yo, I'll do it. I don't care. Let's whatever it take." Like that hunger is that hunger. Like
Right.
somebody should have been able to protect them, just like somebody should be able to protect the young artist and
Right.
say,
And that's
"No,
how
that's not what you have to do."
right. And that's what I was gonna say. Even if they were willing to do whatever, um, even if they weren't, somehow they were going to be manipulated into doing it.
That's a fact. That's a big fact.
and
That's a big fact. It's all
they
in
and
what
they're
crew
not
you
going to
in
want to
there with.
lose the opportunity,
That's true.
so they're going to go along with it.
That's true. That's true.
Or I should say, that's what seemed to be the case most often in hip hop.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, like you said, there's only really one situation we could think about where it really wasn't the case. I mean, they didn't play Bahamadia. They didn't play. You know what I'm saying? There's a couple women that they didn't play, and
Right,
I would say they didn't play them because they wasn't allowed.
right. I think that, and to be honest, so I'm just gonna be honest. So I think it's two parts to it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, another part, yes, they probably didn't allow it, but I also feel like they maybe didn't see them
Mm-hmm. That
as
way, right?
that way. That
Yeah.
I don't think they didn't have the look. I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel like they didn't feel like Bahamadia had the look as a Little Kim or Foxy Brown. So
Right.
that what they was trying to push wouldn't have worked. But also when you name the people like that came later, like Bahamadia, let's just say a Bahamadia and compare and contrast, because both to Foxy Brown, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who had the most success? Who's more world renowned? Foxy.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So the point is, the one that played the game is the ones that advance further. If you
Yeah.
didn't play the game, you're only going so far.
That's true. I
And
mean, that's the way hip hop is set up. I mean, you have these people, and like we keep saying, is sad, but it seems to be based on the crew of men or the man that you come in with. Just like Lauren came in with the Fugees.
yeah.
You see what I mean?
Mhm.
The record industry still got hold of Lauren.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think the fact that she didn't want to fold and be what they wanted her to be is what forced her out of the industry in the first place.
Right. Right. Now, I'm gonna grab my phone real quick because I want to look up something.
Yeah.
But that is a great point about why she's not here anymore. Like why she's not in the industry for the most part anymore.
Right.
That speaks to the very core of misogyny that's really embedded in the heart of the music industry itself.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to skip too far ahead, so I'm just going to leave that there. I'm gonna just say that.
Well, maybe we need to go ahead and go there, because I was thinking, in my head, I was thinking, well, maybe we need to tell the people how we got here.
Okay, yeah, but let me follow up with that and say, because and it's not, and I was thinking as I was saying it to say in the music industry, and we can just leave it there in the music industry, because, and then I'll let you speak to what God is here, because as we learned from the documentary that you told me to look at, and we already knew this, it's not something that is not like a novelty of hip hop. It's in all of the genres.
That's right. That's right.
All of the genres in the music and the way the business is played out.
Exactly.
Both parts, misogyny is there.
Exactly. Period. I mean, honestly, the hip hop music industry is only a reflection of the major music industry. You know what I mean? Of the music industry that existed before hip hop existed. Like, we learned how to beat people from them. And some of us have chosen to continue their practices. You see what I mean? And the misogyny, the power that comes with those that comes with those positions, we chose to continue to use that too. Some of us. You know what I mean? Like, that's all the way down to groupies, bro. You see what I mean? Like, I didn't make it to no level in hip hop where nobody should have been a groupie.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But even I came across people and came across opportunities to act with power.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it just so happened I was the type of person that I'm a hunter. I don't want it. You know what I mean? Like, I want
to go out.
Yeah. If I, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I ain't. Yeah. Don't run up on me trying to, cause you know, that's foul to me. Like, you know, if you don't like me, you don't like me. If I don't want to pay you to like me.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it don't do nothing for me. But some people need that power and they get off on that power. So as soon as they figure out they're in the position where they can make something move, they do.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? But either way, to tell people how we got here, like how we got to having misogyny, this conversation about misogyny in hip hop. Actually, part of it you don't know is I asked my girl if she had watched the documentary, if she had seen it, and she was like, nah. And then she was like, well, y'all should talk about the documentary on the show. And I was like, yeah, we can. We just have to find a way to, you know. And she was like, you know, misogyny in hip hop is a broad enough topic. And I was like, yo, we should have been did that. Like, that's it. Like, that's perfect. That's what we'll do next, right? So I was definitely gonna ask you to watch it, but her suggestion expedited me asking you to watch it, right? But the documentary is on HBO Max, and I can't remember the name of it right off the top.
It's called On the Record.
Thank you. So,
which is
perfect.
Double entendre.
Double entendre, yeah. So it's primarily about this young lady. I can't remember her name. I'm bad, and I saw it a couple weeks ago.
Drew Dixon.
Drew Dixon. Yes. She's a A&R. She made her way to be A&R at Def Jam. She I won't tell you the whole story, but she put together some really, really important records in hip hop. One of them being "All I Need" from Mary J. Blige and Method Man, which actually made our list of collab songs. You know what I mean? Best collab songs of all time. So she was the A&R behind one of the greatest collabs of all time. Among other things, she brought Kanye and John Legend, who was still John Stevenson's, to L.A. Reid before they were ever signed, and he turned them down for foul reasons.
Passed on them.
Yeah, for foul reasons, though. He didn't just pass on them. He passed on them because she wouldn't sleep with him.
Right.
You know what I mean? He passed on them because she wouldn't sleep with him.
Right. And that was after her whole run-ins with Russell.
That was after Russell raped her. Let's just get right to it. That was after the Russell rape.
Yeah.
Come on. And I mean, I'm not saying this with like in jest. I'm saying this because it's so ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous that she went through. She was that important to hip hop, and the culture still put her through that.
Right.
Not that
And
anybody would deserve. The less
right.
important you are, the
That
more
you deserve it.
that
Yeah,
you
yeah, I get what
deserve
you're
it.
saying.
But like you should at least be able to recognize who you doing it to.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like how sick are
Mhm.
you that you can't even like you don't value nothing or nobody.
Right. Right. Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's like
Mm-hmm.
as much as we love Russell, Russell is a complete and whole dirtbag out here.
Yeah, man.
And
It's yeah. That was very yeah. It was ridiculous. Like in the story, so it was good. It was a very good documentary.
right,
Very good
absolutely was,
documentary. I learned a
absolutely.
lot that I didn't know, so it increased my hip hop knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was behind putting together the show soundtrack. I think it
Absolutely.
was.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that was crazy.
Yeah.
Um, and like anything, I have some questions, not questions in regard to the validity of the story,
Right.
but questions about man. I hate the fact that they felt helpless or they felt like they couldn't tell because her mom was the
Mm-hmm.
former mayor of DC. So you
Right.
would think, so when she moved to New York to pursue her musical dreams, you would think if something that, you know, traumatic happened,
Right.
that she would have, the necessary support system to
Right.
combat, this big iconic figure because of, political ties to her family or, connections that her family may have made in that area. So that was the only thing about me. I wish like when the stuff happened.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be honest. It was two things. So that I wish like I mean I can't know because I ain't never been raped. I haven't been
Right.
sexually abused. So I don't know how you would feel or what I would do in that situation, right? Particularly speaking as a woman, I can't because I'm a man. So I can't speak for them. But I'm just saying that for justice reasons, it would be good for them. I wish the stuff wouldn't take years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because what happens is the perpetrators still garner support and love,
Right.
and we don't know, and we're blindsided. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uh,
The sad. Not to cut you off, but the
yeah,
sad
go
thing
ahead.
is, bro, if she had done this then, they would have crushed her. You
Maybe, but I'm still banking on her family being, what I mean, having some degree of authority and power. You see what I'm saying? And
I
and
I
and, and,
understand what
and
you're
she
saying.
had
I put it to
and
you this
one other
way.
part.
They would have.
Well, one other
It's
part.
very simple to Kaepernick.
Which
Very
okay,
simple to
okay.
Kaepernick. She
Yeah,
was doing what she loved.
right.
They would have crushed her. What
Hmm.
she didn't realize is that she realized later is they crushed her anyway.
Anyway, right.
But it took time for her to get to that. She was trying to maintain,
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying, who
right,
she is.
right. And and all my years aren't accurate. Like I can't tell you the year when she first had her first, not even when she first had got raped, but by like
Right.
sexually abused or harassed by him. Right, the
Right.
first time that happened. But she mentioned when it first happened, she told some friends, whatever. One of the things, this is my part too, the family thing, and then my other question was, um, I would have thought, and I could be, of course, wrong because I'm assuming, but I would have thought that if she felt like she could talk to anyone in the industry, right, at
Mm-hmm.
that time, it would have been Big because she said she stayed on Big. And Big used to tell her, like, when you take the train, come down my block because I run my block and you'll be good. Ain't nobody going to bother you. So she said Big kind of looked out for her and stuff like that. So I thought maybe, you know what I mean? She, you know what I
Right.
mean?
I feel you,
You know
but
what I mean?
I'm gonna keep it 100
Yeah,
with
but
you.
go ahead.
She's inside the industry.
Right.
She knew exactly how powerless Big really was. So telling Big is just like telling one of her girls.
Yeah. But
Straight
yeah,
up. Straight up. Straight up. Straight up. Like telling Big is just like telling one of her homegirls. No effect. It's not gonna do nothing. He can't do nothing. Big got a contract. Big don't
yeah.
run nothing. Didn't run. He might could go beat Russell up. The best he gonna
Yeah.
do.
So I was thinking more along them lines.
I mean, you see what I'm saying? But that's the best that's gonna happen is Russell gonna get beat up. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the best. And then I'm gonna put it to you this way too. We talking about Drew Dixon.
Yeah.
There were at least 5 other women
Oh yeah.
on that documentary that had the same exact story as her.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a cycle. The rape is only one of the violations.
Oh yeah. I mean, he raped the other girl. Said she was raped too.
Yeah, I'm talking about. In each instance, the rape is only one violation of that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
You see what I'm
It's
saying?
layers before that. It's multiple violations that happen leading up to that.
Which is why, in a lot of times, there has to be somebody that cracks it, and when somebody cracks it, it comes out in mass. You see what I'm saying? But there's a reason that it happens that way, because they've been beaten into submission.
Yeah.
They've been locked into a position that it doesn't make sense for them to tell anybody, and they have told people, and it hadn't mattered.
And it hadn't mattered. Yeah. So then you feel voiceless or powerless.
Exactly.
And then you got to understand, I'm in the male-dominated industry,
right?
Which that also kind of disarms you, because you think whoever I tell, they are probably they're running in the same circle, so they already know what's going on. They know, and they may be guilty of the same thing. So why would they?
She said on day one, Lehor told her he didn't want to see her. That was a warning. He was basically warning her that, you see what I'm saying? You ain't here for nothing but sex.
Mm-hmm.
If you here to see Russell, you ain't here for nothing but sex. Period. I don't care how valuable you think you are. I don't want to see you. Is what Leo told us. So he basically told, but you can't see that. That's hindsight being 2020.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But so I mean, if it's happening at that high level, and we know it's happening at that high level,
yeah, for
and
sure.
if somebody that we love and revere and respect as much as Russell was doing it, imagine what somebody like Suge was doing.
Oh man.
I mean, not to throw Suge under the bus, but I'm just saying somebody of Suge's character.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like a grimy ass nigga, like somebody we know won't hit on nothing.
Right.
And you got people not to throw him under the bus, but he gave this interview himself. You got Irv Gotti.
Oh yeah.
On Drink Champs saying that he made Superhead give the whole crew head in the tour in the trailer so that she could stay on set. What?
Yeah.
So we went from MC Light and Salt and Pepper to straight up raping women,
right?
And making them basically do gangbangs and do, you see what I'm saying? Like hip hop culture digressed to that.
Right. And you know what's crazy? What the person you just mentioned, Irv Gotti, because I saw the interview along with others, and he talked about him that at that time.
Yeah.
Right. And when you look at the time, and you've heard it yourself too from Russell, but mainly Reverend Run, right? But talk about how cocaine and women. That's everywhere they went. Cocaine and women.
Yep.
They was wild.
They was rock stars. They was rock stars. And the crazy thing is, bro, it's like, okay. This is a devil's advocate. And if we don't hold rock stars to a higher standard, and they are rock stars based on that behavior, why are we asking hip hop artists to do differently? Because they are the rock stars of today. Should that just be expected behavior, or should we hold them to a different to a higher standard because they're a reflection of us?
Right. So, so I think me personally, I think across the board, everybody should be held to the standard of doing what is right.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is after I asked the question, I'm waiting for your answer. That answer popped into my head, and then you said it. I was like, damn it, that was good. That's my co-host there. Yeah, you're right. Because that was a trick question, and I didn't even mean for it to be a trick question. But that was a perfect answer, though.
Yeah, because there is no nowhere. Yeah, it's just that everybody should
Yeah.
be held to the standard of doing right by each and every one. I mean, there's no way around that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just no way. Because I don't justify it for the rock stars living the rock star life.
I hear you. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. They should be,
If they doing what we're talking about, and that's the problem.
and they were, and
And yeah, and
worse.
we know they were, and we yeah.
Like we said, like the hip hop music industry is a direct reflection of the music industry on the whole.
Right, because hip hop came later.
Yeah, we didn't create what we doing. We didn't create the power that comes with what we doing. We didn't create the lineage of what a rock star is. We didn't create the drug culture. We didn't create rape culture.
Right, and right, which is good part. I want to get into the creation of rape culture.
Mm-hmm.
But and more. Well, I won't say more importantly, but in addition to what you're saying, that's even that has great significance is we didn't create the structure of the music industry, how it's ran,
Right.
the execs and what they do,
Right. Nah, we
and
definitely did.
how they wield their power to satisfy their own desires.
Yeah, we didn't create that. We followed it.
Yeah,
Yeah, we followed it, but we didn't create it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's funny. So it's like saying, and this ain't no excuse by any means, but if you saw it happening, then you'll probably repeat it. It's like with anything. You see what I'm saying? If the music, if hip hop music insiders saw the music industry acting this way, right? And they took it upon themselves to act this way. I think that's industry level, right?
Mm-hmm.
But on the art level, I don't know that's we can't blame that on that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That art level is, yes, it's impacted by what they've been told to do because they think sex sells and these things, but on some level, you got to be responsible for the art you putting in the world. If the execs is acting like Greeks and Romans back in the day, wilding out, then you still have to have your moral compass,
Right.
or at least try to maintain it. But like we said, with power and with money and with pressure and with these things, that shit goes out the window, and we end up with WAP.
Yeah. Right. Right. And you know what? I wanted, before it slipped my mind, I want to highlight, I think, one of the important points of the docuseries, which I liked, and it didn't make an excuse for anyone's behavior, be it rape, sexual harassment, or whatever type of the sexual abuse it was. But I think it was Drew Dixon. She talked about when she was 16 or either 18, her father taking them on a family trip to Ghana and going to the castle where the slaves were held in West Africa, and then talked about where the women were chained up and then they were raped, and then the men that tried to fight to protect them and stuff, where they would show the cells where they were put and stuff like that. So she was talking about from slavery, the whole breakdown of the male female, the black male female dynamic and relationship.
For sure.
It's been fractured since slavery, and of course we know more about it.
Right.
What happened, even the plantations, what they did to break the connection.
And after that,
COINTELPRO and on to make sure the family structure stayed fractured and that we didn't really see each other in the right way. So this spilled over into the music.
Okay.
Right? Because number one, like the average person, unless you just grew up a little different, right? And the way you was taught and raised, maybe you was able to combat some of the extreme forces outside of your home and in the environment, aka peer pressure and other stuff. Yeah. But for the most part, most people grow up, you don't have a healthy respect. You may have respect for your mom and sister and stuff like that to a degree, but if we really had a healthy respect for our mom and our sister, then that would translate to all the other women in the community, which you and I know from middle school and high school, it did not.
It just at all. It just didn't.
And we know that based on our mistreatment of women.
Yep, and the women in our lives.
Mistreatment of women.
And the women in our lives.
And the women in our lives. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not shocking that now from the mindset, from the traumatic experience coming up from slavery and then other, stereotypes and prejudice that we suffer from, things that's perpetrated against us, that the mindset now somehow we are comfortable with blatantly making them only sexual objects in our music, or making them the
foil.
Yeah.
Making them the foil, making them the one you can't trust, making them the bitch, making them the hoe, making them the. You see what I'm saying? If we don't, you know what I mean? If we ain't only getting pleasure from them, they ain't shit in the music. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's ridiculous. There's
super ridiculous.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
And yeah, man. Yeah. So, but that was very telling. That part. And so it's not surprising that so many executives and so many people, as you climb up the ladder, are having that mindset. Now, mind you, that even if they didn't originate the mindset, right? But I put it like this: before the sexual abuse that was happening to Black women in America was done by us, it was done by those who brought us into captivity first.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And so, and you've often heard the saying, and I've heard the saying, people that hurt people hurt other people, right? Well, as you said, you do what you see. So a lot of the behavior, right, is mimicry behavior too.
Yeah, boy. I tell you what, that's an A+ right there. Cause that was real though. I mean, for real, because it's very true, man. It's very true. So it kind of speaks to what I was saying, where the separation was, that doesn't exist. Like, they've been training us to do ourselves dirty the entire time.
Right.
You know what I mean? And and like we spoke about before, they've tricked us into doing it through the music. It's sad that they waited until it was the most popular music on the planet. It's like, oh, now it's the most popular music on the planet. Let's make, because there was a time where there were very, very positive messages in the music. Not hip hop. I mean, even in hip hop, but the 70s was great. For messaging towards for our people. We lost a little bit of that in the 80s. We gained some of it back in hip hop in the late 80s. But it went away again. And from then on out, man, it's just been total destruction of ourselves and especially of the women.
Yeah.
So how do we reverse it? Do we, like, you know what I mean?
Well, what music does, see, this is the thing. The music attached to imagery is projected to the world, and that creates a reality of what it is to be a woman, or what it is to be Black man, Black woman, like right here in America. That image goes out all over the world.
Right.
So you have to change the words and change the images that's being pumped to our own people and children and to the world. Because, okay, if all we're saying if all the person in China, all they know of us is based off of what Two Live Crew says about us and Black women, then that's their understanding of us.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Facts. So then the only way to change it is, okay, then there's a new narrative that has to impregnate the industry. There's a new imagery that's got to be associated with the music that is projected to the world to help shape it, and even us, the same
Right.
thing. And then to be honest, just integrity on both ends. And now I mean integrity for artists,
Mm-hmm.
the male artists and female artists. Like, but see, it's a way to do it. Like it can be done, right? It can be reversed, but the people involved have to want to change. Like you can never make someone change that don't want to change.
That's facts.
You have to want to
That's
change,
facts.
right? And the problem is to be honest, is perks and the money that come with perpetuating a broken image
Mm-hmm.
of a woman, what a black woman truly is, a black man is. That's making more money, and unfortunately, a lot of people is willing to sell it. You mentioned something. You mentioned WAP earlier,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I was looking at an interview, and Saigon was talking about how he has an 8-year-old daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and he was saying like people have been defending like artists, saying like they doing their thing. You know what I mean? That's like he was saying. He made a good point, simple point, but he was saying you wouldn't show a child pornography, would you? He was like, okay, so do you understand the impact and the damage like the images are having on the young, impressionable minds that don't have understanding?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what if they think that is how I'm supposed to be?
Right.
That's what success of a black woman looks like. This is what I have
Yeah,
to do.
and the thing is, this media is so pervasive in our lives that you can't hide it from your kids.
Right.
There was a time where there were certain channels that you could watch, and then you knew you couldn't watch, and there was, you see what I'm saying? So like, so the music, even at the time with BT late, you know what I'm saying, like late night uncut or whatever. You see what I'm saying? Like even that was separate. Like your 8-year-old ain't supposed to be up
Ain't
at
gonna
midnight.
be up at 2 a.m.
Right. So if it's on, it's on.
Yeah.
There was some separation. Now with media being as pervasive as it is, it's on the phone, it's on YouTube, it's on TV, it's on whatever, you know what I mean? On every platform you can pick up, you got access to it, and so does your kid. So it makes it harder to draw that line for them. You know what I mean? So it makes what Saigon said make way more relevant.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't feel like you should censor people. Like you make what you want to make. But damn, you know what I mean? Like damn. And I'm not just talking about WAP. I'm talking about you know what I mean? Like everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't picking on them.
Yeah, no, I get you.
You know, it is what it is. Like I definitely, if Akhenaten put it in your mouth, come on, I'm rocking out.
One of the biggest songs in the world.
Yeah, it's a staple.
If you put that on at any time in the club or any party, people are going nuts.
Period. Straight up.
It's very bad.
Yeah.
That might be the flagship song of Misogyny.
Maybe, but he gave her the part at the end.
Right.
When she talked just as grimy to him. So
yeah. So well, at least he's equal opportunity.
Equal opportunist. I can rock with that at least, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Yeah, the only thing we can really do about misogyny in hip hop is hope. Well, we can't hope. We could actually try to impact younger people to create different art than what is seemingly they're in line to mimic. You know what I mean? Because like we said, humans, that's what we do. We mimic. So right now, it ain't looking like we're gonna be able to stomp this stuff out. Even though we do have, let's not speak like we don't have artists that uplift women.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Like Sean do a good job, Wale do a good job, Cole do a good job, Kendrick do a good job. Not so much Drake.
Not so much Drake. Yeah.
So there are some top tier, or there's 3 or 4 of the top tier hip hop artists that really do seem to care for black women. but there are tons that don't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so I mean, it just needs, like everything else we talk about, bro. It just needs more balance.
It does needs more balance.
It needs more balance, and I think men in the industry need to step up and protect women more,
Mm-hmm.
and say, nah, you don't have to do that, sis. Like, you ain't gotta do that. You
Right,
don't have
right,
to do that.
right,
You see what I'm saying? Like, I know you got to deal, but you ain't got to do that. We gonna figure this one out without you having. If you want to do that, then that's cool. If that's what you want to do, then cool. But I'm gonna let you know you ain't gotta do it. We can figure it
right,
out. You see what I'm
right.
saying? Give her the opportunity to figure it out.
Yeah. So let me. Oh man.
Yeah.
And we're at. Let me see where we at. We're almost an hour in, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna be honest. I want to do a part two to this, but we need to get 1 to 2 women on here with us on the next record. We got to.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Or else they're going to be calling us misogynist. How you going to talk about misogyny if don't even get the woman voice to balance the conversation?
I agree.
So we have to have that. So Few Tang Clan and first time listeners, this is just our intro. This is like our opening thesis statement, this whole show.
Right.
We're going to open it up and we're going to have female guests on so they can weigh in and give balance and give more clarity from their perspective on this. But I want to ask you this.
Okay.
This is the question of the night, right? Considering all that we've talked about and the topic of this,
Mm-hmm.
the show topic, right? How do you feel? How off base or how on base is what Jaguar Wright has been saying for the last month? Because she's been going nuts everywhere.
Everybody's been
everywhere.
ducking this shit too.
And she's telling people pull up and dropping her at it.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you what. What I feel about it is there was an era where artists were a lot more responsible with their music than they were with their dicks. You see what I'm saying? They were more responsible with the music than they were with their actions.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? They were more respectful with their music than they were with their actions. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's you know what I mean? Really what it boiled down to, they was foul niggas.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? They was foul niggas. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I don't remember everything she said they did. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But I don't know that they was much more foul than I was.
No. Well, I
What specifically are you speaking about?
okay, because I want to help you out. Like some of the stuff I know you ain't do.
What did she say Common did exactly? Common tried to take it while she was asleep, right? That's what she said. Now you never did no shit like that.
No, you ain't never did like that.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't even like drunk pussy.
Right. Exactly. That's
You see what I'm saying? Like,
you playing with a rape charge.
Nah, keep it because you didn't give it to me. I like to.
So yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely. So, but yeah, to do that she sleep, and then she said she wake up to him trying to put his stuff in her mouth.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean.
Nah, I never did no crazy shit.
Right, but then she mentioned other actual cases of rape. You know what I mean? And she mentioned, just wild stuff going on the tour bus when she was on tour.
Right.
And then she was saying like, and then this is so crazy. She mentioned one time, well, not one time, but this is one aspect of touring with the Roots and all these other artists on the bus, bunch of men. And she, at that time, I think it was just 2 women on the bus. But she said, waking up, and they're playing porno first and eating cereal first thing in the morning.
Wilding.
She was like, and I pulled them aside and told them, like, what are y'all doing?
They in full debauchery mode.
Right, full debauchery mode. And you have women on the, like, no respect.
They don't care. They don't care. That's what I'm talking about. Full debauchery mode.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And like I said, like, there have been nights where me and my niggas went into full debauchery mode.
Yeah, yeah.
We ain't never ever 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 took nothing from nobody or even thought about taking nothing
Exactly.
from nobody. So that's
Exactly.
why I want to draw the line. You see what I'm
Right,
saying?
right,
That's why I
right,
asked, like, what things are you talking about, so I could say. You see what I'm
right.
saying? Like, they're up to
Mhm.
a point. We was grimy, so I can't judge them for that. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
But
yeah.
now taking something from anybody is nuts.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? That's crazy. So, but like I said, I feel like they were a lot more responsible with their music than they were with their morals, their bodies, their, you see what I'm saying? Their actions. It's
Hmm.
just real. It's just real. That's how it is. And that lets you know that you what a person is saying on a song don't mean nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? The type of
Hmm.
hat a nigga wearing don't
Yeah,
mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, he could still be wilding out.
yeah, yeah.
So it that lets you know it's even deeper than the music though. That lets you know that what you was talking about, like the impact of systematic, the impact of the systematic breaking down of black family, black man, and black woman.
Yeah,
These are the fissures and the cracks that you're gonna see.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But when you see them, we it's time we recognize them and at least speak to the entertainment of what's going on and letting people know, okay, this ain't. Let's stop calling hip hop real. Let's stop saying I'm real. Let's stop saying. Let's take that
Mhm.
out. If we're gonna keep doing this, if we're gonna keep down this road, let's let it be wrestling completely.
Right, right, right.
And it's easier to explain to your kids.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's easy to explain to your kids. So let's stop. Let's make it full entertainment, and then we could just say that's what it is, and we can stop lying to the kids and saying I'm the realest. I'm a real bitch. I'm a real nigga. You see what I'm saying? Like, I do. All this is bullshit. We just entertaining y'all
For money.
for money, and this ain't what you want to be. I'm not
Right.
even that.
Yeah, right.
You
Exactly.
see what I'm saying? So it's got to do something though. But to keep the hip hop is the realest genre, and this is what we selling. Don't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't at all, man.
Don't make sense. It don't make sense, and it don't make sense for us to keep buying it neither.
No.
You know what I mean? But we ain't the age bracket that's buying it no more. You see what I'm saying? They're not
Yeah.
selling it to us no
I'm
more.
definitely not buying it. Yeah.
But but it's still getting bought.
Oh yeah, it is for
That's the
sure.
thing, and we can't dictate to the kids what they like and what they don't like. So it's like, what generation do you catch? You see what I'm saying? What execs do
Hmm.
you catch that's
Hmm.
gonna flip the switch and try to make it different?
Right.
And let's not forget that Eve wasn't this type of MC. Let's not forget that, you see what I'm saying? Eve was stand up, like she
Yeah.
didn't play herself. There's a lot of female rappers that didn't play themselves, but she
Yeah.
came through
Yeah.
a crew of niggas that didn't make her play herself. They
Right.
played up the stripper thing a little bit.
Yeah, they did a little bit.
They played up the stripper. She said she stripped for 2 months total.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they played up the stripper thing a little bit. Uh, but they didn't make her play herself. I don't feel like.
Right.
Um, I huh.
Yeah, it's rough,
It's
man.
rough, bro. It's rough. So yeah, we'll do part two, and we'll definitely get the perspective of some women, so they'll, maybe they'll help us understand um, how they would deal with it, if faced with the situation. Because I would like to know. Um,
Right.
and I would like to know how they feel when hearing it.
Hmm.
Um, it's
And
a
and personal experiences
facts,
of misogyny in general.
facts, facts. I mean, shit. Man, look. I done had conversations with my female friends, and they done told me that they done molested niggas. So I know damn well it's niggas that's done crossed the line.
Yes.
You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
just being over sexualized, just doing too much.
Hmm.
And we nobodies. So these people with power is tripping. You gotta know it.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So just magnify that you run a whole music label industry. You're one of the top guys, or you have X amount of $1 million behind
Right,
your name and private
right,
jets and
right,
like out of control.
right.
Niggas is bugging.
I'm telling you, they bugging.
Every night they wilding.
Yep. Yep.
You bet on that.
Yep. And
Especially if they don't have the moral compass and integrity that you have, or let's say like the common God-fearing, let's say, person has, right? Oh, they really wilding.
yeah.
Because see, the problem is most of the time, the more money and power that the person get, the more they start to feel like they are God Almighty. They do whatever. They set their own parameters.
Yeah.
They're above, and not to mention, this is where the legal trouble. They literally think they're above the law because they think they can pay off or manipulate everyone based on money and influence.
Yeah. And for a while, they are
It
able.
worked. Yeah, that's true.
That's the sad part. That's the sad part. But
Right,
I
because you
mean,
get so many casualties in between that time.
yep. But I got one final thing on misogyny and hip hop. This documentary came out on HBO Max. Not everybody's got that. Cool. A lot of people do have HBO though, so I know people have had the opportunity to see it. I sent you a YouTube link.
Yeah, I watched it on YouTube. Whole thing.
I watched it on YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
I ain't heard not a mumbling word about this documentary from nobody in no media.
Mm-hmm.
Like it ain't out. Like it didn't happen.
Yeah, which is, don't you think that is so extremely? That might be the biggest sign of misogyny in hip hop. That all these hip hop podcasts.
Yep.
Nobody said nothing about this when it dropped.
Nope.
I haven't heard any mention from any hip hop type of media outlet at all say anything about it.
Nobody.
Just us.
Just us in this conversation. It's because we have conversations about hip hop on
You know
Max,
why?
not what's most popular. Why?
Right, exactly. And you know why niggas ain't talking about it yet? Let's be real clear. And what separates us from the rest of these suckers?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we talk spicy now. Like, what really separates us from the rest? Because now the ones that have bigger platforms than us, that really are somebody, right? I'm just saying, for instance, and this ain't even a shot, but like a Joe Budden podcast, right? I know they in transition and all that, but you was actually in the industry, so you know firsthand, or maybe you've been involved in stuff because he is kind of on the hot seat right now. Damn, I feel bad even like throwing him. But point is, like, yo, why y'all not lifting y'all voice to say something about it? Because they know even better than we do, because they went higher in the industry. So they have seen more of it and maybe have been a part of it. But the point is, even if you was a part of the problem, then you can still help to be help resolve the problem, especially to take responsibility. So I don't know if people are being quiet about it because nobody wants to call certain people out, or they don't want to. Maybe they got relationships with them still, right? So they don't want to say nothing. But bro, it is no way nobody has said anything except for a podcast that's on the come up. How is that possible? They've seen it. They know about it.
Right. They stayed away from this just like they did Desiree Perez.
Right. And let's be clear. Thank you. Let's talk shit now, man.
Come on with it, cuz.
Conversate for a few, and let's be on record. And we got the record. No podcast. Nobody said nothing about Desiree Perez. Link none of this to Jay and all the songs from Jay. From You Must Love Me to all the songs that connected all the dots of who is who until we did it. After we did it recently, Queen's Flip talked about it, and then other people start talking about it. This was like almost 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We've been decoded damn near a year ago.
Facts.
Nobody was speaking on it.
Facts. That's big facts, bro. We do have the tough conversations here, yo.
Yeah, because we don't have the allegiances to none of these people.
That's fact.
You know what I mean? And we're not guilty of whatever they've done in the industry, because we ain't in that industry.
Nope.
So I don't know whatever they did on their tour buses.
Yeah.
And after the shows let out and all of that with all these people, we ain't a part of that.
Nope.
You know what I mean? So I feel like, but what they don't Like even Nori, I like Drink Champs, but I think like I'm just naming big platforms that could address this and help the problem.
He was at Def Jam. He
Right,
got to know
exactly. He
Drew.
was at Def Jam. He got to know. So my thing is, by staying away from it, it just makes everyone look guilty. Yeah. It makes it like, you know what I'm saying? It just makes it look like, damn, there is something strange going on here. People ain't even talking about it at all.
Well, the thing coverage.
It's like the black child that gets gunned down and you don't ever hear about it.
There you go.
It's the same thing.
It's either say nothing and seem guilty, or say something and admit guilt.
Mm-hmm.
That's the position they in. You see what I mean? It's either say nothing and seem guilty, or speak and you got to admit guilt, because this is obvious.
Yeah.
And I ain't saying everybody doing it, but I'm saying everybody in the industry knows somebody that is.
Right, exactly. And I'm not saying that everyone like raped anyone. No. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is 99.999% of them, I've heard enough stories from Irv, from everybody about how wild it was in the hotels with groupies and on tour buses.
Right.
And we see how women are handled and portrayed predominantly in the music industry.
Right. And you look at the videos, if the videos are indicative of what you think you can get away with on the bus.
Oh my God.
You see what I'm saying? So it's sort of obvious, man. It's obvious that there's it's obvious that there's mass disrespect. It's a lot of, I'm not gonna say I could have dodged all of it if I'd have made it into the industry. You see what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say that, because there were times in life, like we said, we weren't the most respectful of women. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I pray to God I could have dodged some of that. I know there's some things I definitely wouldn't have done.
Yeah, some stuff I'm not. First of all, I'm not waking up at 10.
I'm not taking
nothing with a bunch of grown men.
Nah, that's out of the question. That's out of the question. And me taking something from somebody is out of the
question. Not taking anything.
Yeah, not taking nothing from nobody. But I don't know, man. Misogyny and hip hop.
Part one.
I'm gonna let the people know that I sent you that link, asked you to watch it, said we agreed this would be the topic. The only thing we said in regards to this topic before we started this show was the documentary. Some shit, ain't it?
That's a fact. That was the only thing that was said.
That was the only thing that was said. Enough. And that was enough. But I just wanted to give people some understanding of what they listened to. Y'all listened to our conversation about a topic we interested in.
Mm-hmm.
We picked the topic. I sent you some information and we discussed it. We didn't sit back and decide we're gonna talk about this, we're gonna talk about that, we're gonna leave this out, we're gonna leave that out. We gotta make sure that ain't what we did. We had a genuine conversation about something we care about. You see what I'm saying? And that's what Conversate for a Few is. And because we care about it, we definitely gonna bring some women on here to get a deeper perspective and a deeper understanding of misogyny in hip hop and what it means from a more global perspective, right? More personal and global perspective.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
All right. So you think we did enough on this one, bro?
Yeah. I think we covered it for the first phase of this conversation.
No doubt. I think so too. So with that being said, man, I'm gonna ask y'all to go to Facebook and Instagram and follow us at Conversate for a Few. Go to YouTube and make sure you subscribe, right? Go to YouTube and subscribe. Leave us a comment on YouTube, because we're more likely to see it on there than we are anywhere else.
Yeah.
If you're not a YouTube head, then you can check us out on Anchor. You can check us out on Spotify. You can check us out on Apple Podcasts. You can check us out on Google Podcasts and Stitcher. Leave us a message there too. Rate the show. Share the show with your friends from any of those platforms. Matter of fact, go to all of those platforms and share the show with your friend from each one of them. You know what I mean? I want to give my man Dreek London a shout out about the merch, man. It's Dreams of Children Music Group, bro. I thought it was fire, so I copped it, man. I appreciate the hard work the boys was putting in, man. They call me Big Merch, so I'm trying to come in with you know what I'm saying, with some new merch on every once in a while. I think the last show I ain't gonna say that because I don't even think I put it out yet. But anyway, Shout out to Drake London, man. Go find Dot Music Group, DOC Music Group. I think it's at Dot Music Group on Instagram. They got the link in the bio if y'all trying to get that. Hopefully soon we'll have a link in our bio so you can cop our limited edition Few Tang Clan merch.
Right.
What we doing is training y'all to enjoy the merch, and then we gonna pop up with our own on, and then you be like, oh, that's what we expecting. Yeah. That's what we hoping for.
Right. Because our joint gonna be, our joint gonna be the illest. I just gotta tell you,
super fire. But yeah, with that being said, man, I'm Jonna.
I'm Alan. This was not a podcast about classical music.
Absolutely was not. This is a podcast about hip hop. Make room for the tag.
Conversate for a few.
Hustle, welcome, man, they had to send me. Hustle from Raleigh, live from NC with your hosts, John and Alan. Relate to the two. You are now listening to Conversate for a few. Check it on SoundCloud, debate with your crew. They talking hip hop from the late to the new. From July till June end. No Fridays for me. Tune in. Please listen to this podcast. 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 Please listen to this podcast.